rounding up Aero Expo Prague, a new mineral water for pilots, and we go all gooey. I'm Vicki and you're watching fullflap.tv. A roundup of last week in a moment and a look ahead to next week, but first, it's called the Gweduck. You might think that sounds like a rather odd name for an aircraft, but this new amphib looks quite exciting, even if it needs a more exciting paint scheme. It almost has hints of the Grumman Goose, doesn't it? It's just done its first test flight. It's a six-seater and expected to travel at about 135 knots while cruising along with 1,800 pounds of passenger. We couldn't find anything about fuel consumption, but in fairness, it's still early days. We also couldn't find out why it's called the Gweduck. Anyone got any ideas? Supersonic bizjet designers Aerion say their plans are still going ahead despite the doom and gloom. All we have so far are these pretty pictures, but the firm say their order book remains solid with $4 billion worth of deposits. Each aircraft will cost you $80 million US. The only catch is that they now need some partners to build the aircraft. The firm say they won't be mentioning yet who's on board with them. This is an aviation show, so let's talk about Oprah Winfrey. The TV giant has been pointing out to students graduating at Duke University that having a private jet is great. Single-handedly, she may have turned around the chaos caused by the Detroit Three. Harrison Ford is the front of the aviation fight back, but Oprah certainly has an ability to put her weight behind things. Coming up, a look ahead to my review of the band's RV6. But first, do you watch aviation videos? We sat down and watched one last week.
Let me quote one of the reviews on Amazon. One of the most boring, worthless aviation films I've ever seen. Don't buy it, don't even borrow it. You know what? That's rubbish. I utterly disagree, but it's not perfect. You don't watch this movie, you experience it. There's a bit where there's a pit special, it does a loop round in the sky mixed to the music, and you just feel the emotion. It also felt at times like you were watching other people having fun, rather than putting you in the cockpit to share that. Do you know what I mean? You know, if you're a pilot already, then you'll be able to watch this and you'll be able to instantly relate to what people are saying. You know what it's like. But if you're not a pilot already, I think you might feel a little bit like you're stuck on the outside. It needed more pace. You knew where it was going half the time, but you just wanted them to kind of get on with it. And it lacked a bit of a conclusion as well. We kind of got to the end and we went, oh, that's it. We were a little bit sort of surprised. One great thing, though, is they really have proved their abilities to make amazing movies here. And it looks like they're now using those skills to make something which is a bit more wide-ranging on general aviation as a whole. So the production values are absolutely fantastic. You know, the aerial sequences are on par with Hollywood, if not blowing them away at times. And the way they mix the music and mix the sequences of aircraft flying is just stunning.
I warn you, brace yourself for this story. How do you fancy a nice glass of urine? I warned you, we don't often touch on space travel, but since it often leads to technology for us pilots down here, we couldn't help but squirm over this. Astronauts have been toasting their health with water recycled and purified from urine. The boffins behind it are delighted, saying it's science fiction becoming reality. But we're wondering how you'd feel if your claim to fame was not that you set foot on the moon first, but that you drank recycled. Let's just leave that there. Ugh. Oh, and perhaps we'll have it on budget airlines soon too. Okay, Prague. We filmed so much material that I can't give you any decent highlights in the next few minutes. So let's just try this.
Second hand. Come on, let's have a look inside. Rob, if you can keep up with us and just have a look at this beautiful leather trim. You want a combination of excitement and aviation on this show, right? Okay, so we've got the sport cruiser here. We've got these wonderful ladies who are representing Czech sport aircraft as well. But I suppose we had better talk about the aviation, haven't we? So, oh gosh! It's like with the grace of a ballerina. All you vote-hungry, knee-jerk reacting politicians in America who say biz jets are completely pointless, have a look at this beauty. the Beechcraft Premier 1, and I want to find out a bit more about this aircraft. Mooney is synonymous with speed. Susan, you're from Mooney. Why is it speed you go for? So this is, it's simply electrically powered off electric motors, isn't it?
Yes.
Good to talk to you this weekend.
And good luck to the guys with all these fancy questions.
So if you want to watch the whole of our coverage or the individual sections, you need to click on the Aero Expo logo on the player you're watching this on now, or just click on the main menu on our website. By the way, thank you for all your questions and keep them coming in, as we'll be at Aero Expo London in 2 weeks' time. More on that next week. Oh, and thank you also for your emails saying you enjoyed our coverage. As always, we try to enjoy aviation, and it looks like you did too. Many of the exhibitors seemed to enjoy the fact that they could talk to you directly. So thank you. Right, have a look at this. That's me in a van's RV6. I'll have that for you next week. Finally, a mention for our friends at GATV Online. It's a US aviation show which has been set up by Dave East, and he's a passionate flyer and believer, like we are, that anyone can fly. So if you still need more aviation after this show and you've watched everything we've done, then why not check out his site. That's it for this week. I'm Vicki and you're watching fullflap.tv.